What?
All right. So put it up. Tell them to put the...
Is she playing it? Don't press play, Natalie.
And
They can still do the
for your Tolsia Rebels. At guard, a 5'9" junior from parts unknown. Number 23, At guard, a 6'3" junior from Guinea Street. Number 1, Tito. It's 5'9" senior from Zombie Mountain. Number 20, Tyler Johnson. Next guy is 6'1" senior from Bull Creek. Number 13, Rock Cantrell. Next guy is 6'1" senior from Lower Mill Creek. Number 11, Austin. Let's get ready for some basketball action.
All right, welcome inside Rebel Arena. I'm Justin Prince alongside Autumn Block, bringing you the Tulsa boys basketball game here against Point Pleasant. And Point Pleasant will start off with the basketball. And that ball right there was going to be a throwaway, Autumn, but Jesse unwisely touches it and gives the ball back to Point Pleasant. This is a Point Pleasant team that is very long and very athletic. Tulsa, of course, coming off a loss last night to the number 1 ranked team in Single A, the Man Hillbillies, trying to get back on the winning track. And so you see Point Pleasant immediately getting the ball inside and getting a layup with their big 6'7" man in the middle there. That's Eric Chapman. And Austin Sam is just going to have to stay on his feet on the defensive end. He's not going to block many of that guy's shots as Tulsa works the ball around the three-point line here on offense, trying to get an open look. Tyler Johnson sized it up for 3, and that's good to give the Rebels a 3-2 lead. And Autumn, when you're playing a team that's this much taller than you really got to shoot the ball well. Muncie almost gets a steal, but now the Knights will get an open 3 of their own. That's off the front of the rim, no good, but they get the offensive rebound.
They're going to have to box out tonight for sure.
Yes, positioning is going to be very important for the Rebels. 3 on the way, no good. Good box out there by Rob Cantrell as he grabs the board, and Muncie's off and running for the Rebels. Puts the brakes on, slowing it down. Gets the ball over to Johnson. Johnson's going to attack, pull up, little short. Chapman altered that shot. Inside to Chapman, Ward on him, and that's easy buckets for the big fella in the middle. Muncie over to Johnson. Johnson back over to Muncie. Little 2-guard game here for the Rebels. Trying to get a mismatch in that corner with Austin Sammons or Rob Cantrell, see if they can't get one of their shooters opened up. Muncie on the wing, back over to Johnson. That's a wild pass, and that's going to be a throwaway and a turnover on the Rebels. And Todd Maynard will take a quick timeout. And you notice, Autumn, you have Stephen Ward in the starting lineup tonight for an injured Gavin Meadows. He was hurt last night in that man game, attempting to take a charge, hit his head pretty hard on the floor. He's out in the concussion protocol, and probably the best defender on this Tulsa team. What's it mean to lose a player like Meadows here against a team like Point Pleasant?
They're definitely going to have to run a lot more because Gavin was always one that could get the ball and could get it to the open man fast. he's definitely a game changer, and I'm excited to see how Todd chooses to replace him, what he chooses to do different.
Absolutely, and you have, two totally different style players in Stephen Ward and Gavin Meadows. Meadows more of a guard and Ward more of a forward. Gives the Rebels a little bit more length on the floor. The Knights work it into Chapman. Trying to get an open look. Tolsia packing in the 2-3 zone. 3 on the way, no good. Rebound Muncie. Muncie's going to slow it up until he has the numbers. Rob Cantrell thought about a 3. He's going to drive. Nice take. All the way to the hole. He scores that one over top of the 6-7 Chapman, and the Rebels are back on top, 5-4 with 5:13 to play here in the first quarter. Chapman working on Sammons. Sammons disciplined that time, stays on his feet. The Knights try another 3 ball, and that one's good. From Hunter Bush of the Knights. 7-5, Point Pleasant lead. Sammons, nice move, and just couldn't get it to finish, but Rob Cantrell with the putback. And he has really been hitting the boards pretty well the last couple of games. Point Pleasant working the ball around, getting it into Chapman. Chapman's going to get called for a walk. And right now the Rebels are not doing a terrible job in that zone of denying Chapman after those first couple of possessions. Ever since we went to the timeout, seems like they've been a little bit more under control on the defensive end. Muncie, 2 guard with Johnson, gets it into Sammons, and over to Stephen Ward. Ward goes up with it and puts it in. And the Rebels are back on top, 9-7, 4:02 to go in the first quarter. Again, Point Pleasant tries to get it to Chapman. That ball's batted away, but they get it back. 3 ball, no good. Rebound, Point Pleasant. Point Pleasant tries another shot. In and out, no good. Rebound, Sammons. He looked for the outlet pass to Muncie, but decided not to throw it. Johnson's going to take it now. Cutting Rob Cantrell. Rob Cantrell up and can't finish. Had a little bit of contact there, but no foul. He's got to finish that still. 3 on the way, in and out, no good, but Chapman gets a rebound.
They're not afraid to take those shots far out like that. They better get out there.
Yeah, they're going to have to close out on those shooters right now. Point Pleasant hasn't connected on very many of them, just the 1 so far, but if they don't get out there and get a hand in their face, those will start to fall. Point Pleasant triggers it into Chapman. Good ball movement there, but nice hands by Stephen Ward to get a steal. And the Rebels are off and running. Muncie in the corner. Brings it back out to the top of the key. Going to set the offense back up. Loses the ball, gets it over to Johnson. Johnson looking for some help. Muncie comes and takes the ball. Double team to Muncie. Ball back over to Johnson. Now they're double teaming Johnson. He makes a nice quick cut, takes it to the basket. Little floater is good. 11-7, Tolsia leads. Point Pleasant, 3 ball on the way, and that's money, and that's exactly what you were talking about just a second ago. Got to close out on those shooters. 11-10, Tolsia lead now. Muncie over to Cantrell in the corner. Pump fake by Cantrell. He gets inside, and that's up and good. And Cantrell's got 6 quick points here in this opening quarter to kind of spark the Rebels. Another 3. And that's Kyler Murrow for his second 3 back-to-back threes, and that ties the score. 13 all. Muncie over to Johnson. Johnson back over to Muncie. Muncie thought about a 3, gets it to Rob Cantrell. He said, why not? He's got the hot hand, and that's good. And Rob Cantrell has 9 in the opening quarter.
He's on fire so far.
Absolutely, and that's what Maynard was working on here earlier today, watching film, but right now Morrow is just answering everything that Cantrell does, 16 all again. But Coach Todd Maynard was working on that in the film session today about getting that ball to the short corner and getting it to the shooters, and right now Rob Cantrell is executing that game plan perfectly. But Tulsa's going to have to find some stops on defense. Muncie got an open three, that's up, and that's good for Muncie. 19-16 Rebel lead. So we have a tit for tat first quarter. Morrow working on Ward, goes in on Sammons, and he's rejected by Sammons. And now we have a foul called, and that'll be Tulsa basketball. Point Pleasant's going to check in number 50, Malik Butler. Another tall, long kid off the bench. He's got a little bit more meat on his bones than some of the other players on the Point Pleasant team. It's going to be a handful down low for Sammons and the Rebels bunch. Muncie walks it up for the Rebels. Under a minute to go in the first quarter. He's going to take a deep three, in and out, no good. Malik Butler with the rebound. Bush brings it up for Point Pleasant. He's going to stop and pop. 12-footer, in and out, no good. Muncie gets a rebound. And the Rebels could play for the last shot of the quarter. Over to Cantrell. Cantrell back out front to Muncie, 16 seconds to go. And I think that that's exactly what the Rebels are going to do. They're going to play for the final shot of the quarter. So at the very least, they're going to go up with a 3-point lead. Trying to add to it. Johnson. 3 seconds left. He's going to have to shoot. That's a wild shot and almost gets it to go. And the Rebels will end that first quarter up 19-16. So Autumn, after one quarter, the Tulsa Rebels have to be feeling pretty good going against the 3A Point Pleasant Knights here, a team that's bigger and longer than them, and they've got the 3-point advantage. What did you see in that first quarter that Tulsa was doing exceptionally well?
Well, all of their shots are going straight in. Their shooting is doing amazing right now.
Absolutely, and sometimes good shooting can cover up some deficiencies that you might have in size or other areas, and right now it's exactly what's happening. But Rob Cantrell with 9 points in the quarter was huge for the Rebels. That's the best that Rob Cantrell started out all year long, and Tulsa really kind of needs him to come along. I think he's really just kind of getting back into the flow of things. You got to remember he missed the last half of last season with a severe eye injury, had to have reconstructive surgery on his cheekbone. So I think he's just now, after the COVID layoff and the injury, I think he's just now starting to get back in the flow of things and had a really, really productive first quarter.
I was watching the JV game earlier, and their JV boys had good defense. They were moving the ball around good. Watching them, I knew that this was going to be a good game.
Absolutely. So now Point Pleasant going to a zone of their own to try to counteract the Rebel speed. Tulsa pulling out of the two-guard offense they were running earlier. Now that Tulsa's in the zone, 3-ball on the way. Nope, never mind. Muncie feeds it inside. Johnson will shoot the 3, though, and that's off the right side of the rim. No good. And nice hustle by Austin Sammons to force it off of number 10, Trey Peck, and give the Rebels possession. Jesse Muncie gets it into Sammons, back out to Johnson, over to Muncie. Tulsa will set up their offense now. Short corner over to Sammons. Sammons back out to Muncie. Muncie 3 on the way, and it's money for Muncie. 22-16, Tulsa lead. 7 minutes to go here in the second quarter. And last night, this is exactly what Tulsa couldn't do. And Morrow hits another. He's got a good-looking shot from the outside, but there's going to be an offensive foul on the moving screen. That negates the basket, and Tulsa keeps a 6-point advantage. But, man, he can really shoot. He's already knocked down 3 threes, and that would have been his 4th if it wasn't for the foul. But last night against Man, Tulsa couldn't throw it in the ocean. Tonight, they're hitting everything they throw up, and that's just kind of how basketball is. Some nights you're on, some nights you're not. And this is a much better basketball team when they're on. Salmons, shot blocked by Chapman, but Ward rebounds, and he goes up over top of Malik Butler and puts it in. And Stephen Ward has 2 buckets in the early going for 4 points. Dribble off his foot. Muncie's going to pick that up. Muncie going on all the way by himself, lays it in, and the Rebels are up double figures, 26-16 with 6:07 to go in the second quarter, and Point Pleasant will take a timeout. And honestly, Autumn, this might be the best that the Tulsa team has looked so far this season. Of course, you know, like we talked about earlier, when your shots are falling, everybody looks better, but this is a really good start for Todd Maynard's team, especially in light of a tough loss last night down at Man against the #1 ranked Hillbillies. Another team kind of built similarly to Point Pleasant, tall and long at every position. So you can hear the Tulsa cheerleaders down there rallying the crowd. They competed for a state championship over the weekend, one of 8 teams to make it to the cheerleading championships. Came up a little short, finished 4th, but just a few points separated them from being a state championship team in single A. And obviously the Tulsa cheerleaders have a great tradition here, and we're proud of those girls for getting back to the state tournament and giving it their best shot, even if they came up a little short. Still an honor to even get the opportunity to compete for a state title.
That's true.
Point Pleasant will trigger the inbounds. Peck will get it in to Bush. Tulsa into man-to-man now. And Butler will fire a 3, and that's no good. Ward rebounds and then immediately throws it away. And that's just kind of the mental errors that Tulsa can't afford. Peck gets it back into Bush, and Point Pleasant will get another crack at the offensive side of the ball. Bush attacks the basket. Nice take, 26-18. Cuts the Tulsa lead down to 8. Salmons into the corner, back out to Muncie. Muncie over to Johnson. Over to Cantrell. Cantrell thought about the 3, gets it back out to Johnson. Johnson's going to drive. Pulls back up, gets it to Muncie. Muncie over to Salmons. Salmons on the attack and over to Johnson. Johnson will fire a 3, and that's money from Johnson. So now Muncie, Johnson, and Cantrell all have 3s in the first half of this ball game as the Rebels lead 29-18, and Bush's basket's not going to count. They're going to say there was a foul on the floor before the shot was put up.
This really isn't a physical game.
No, despite the size advantage for Point Pleasant, they kind of play a finesse style of basketball, and that plays into kind of an advantage for Tulsa because certainly they're not going to be able to match up with the height that Point Pleasant has. Johnson dribbling around the 3-point line, trying to find an open man. Gets it to Salmons. Muncie, deep 3, and that's no good. That was just a couple steps inside the logo. And Point Pleasant will bring the ball up the floor. Butler working against Salmons. He's going to take it, and shot won't fall, but he does draw the foul, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2 with 4:29 to play in the second quarter.
You get 2 shots tonight, sir.
Butler readies for the free throw. First one is up and no good. He'll get a second opportunity right here. And makes the second, cuts the Tulsa lead back to 10. And Muncie will walk the ball up the floor for the Rebels. Cantrell working inside. He's going to take, stop, pop, no good, but he does get the foul. That's going to go against number 21, Zach McDaniel. And Rob Cantrell will go to the line to shoot 2 for the Rebels. Cantrell makes the first. And he makes the second. And Rob Cantrell becomes the first Rebel into double figures. He's got 11 already. 31-19, Tulsa lead. Chapman against Lovins inside. Good defense by Anthony Lovins against the taller Chapman. Forces the ball back out front. Jesse Muncie nearly gets a steal. Can't corral it. And the ball will retain to Point Pleasant. Bush setting up the offense for the Knights. Hesitation, can't get around Johnson, almost loses the handle, gets it to Butler. Butler inside to Chapman, and Jesse Muncie comes over and gets a steal. Austin Sammons picks it up, and the Rebels are off and running. Johnson around McDaniel, over top of Butler, and the floater off the glass is good. 33-19 Tulsa lead, and Point Pleasant will take its second time out of the game. And so, Autumn, you play on the girls' team. You guys have had some losses and had to bounce back the next night as well. What is the mentality like for a team after you have a tough game like the Rebels did against Man last night to come out and get off to a start like this here tonight?
Really, there's 2 ways to do it. You just simply forget about it, or you let it fuel your game. It seems like Tulsa's letting it fuel them because they're killing it out here. Absolutely.
They look like a totally different team than the team we saw at Man last night. And, Coach Maynard has to be really happy with how his team has responded to that tough loss last night so far here against the Knights of Point Pleasant. Brian Akers says he loves a team that hustles, and Coach Maynard loves to see his team hustle too. McDaniel over to Chapman. Chapman working against Sammons, gives it up to Morrow. Morrow tries to get it back to Chapman. Sammons bats it away. It'll stay Point Pleasant basketball. Butler, that's too easy. Chapman's going to lay that in every single time. Muncie back the other way rather quickly, and now Tulsa will slow it down and try to set up their offense. Lovins against Butler. Inside to Sammons. Nice pass. Sammons hesitated, but it's not going to matter. Still going to get the bucket. And Tulsa goes back up 35-21, 14-point lead for the Rebels. Nice hands by Tyler Johnson. That's going to be a breakaway layup for Rob Cantrell. Give him 13 on the night now. That might be a season high for Cantrell. Chapman running the point now for the Knights, and he's going to work against Salmons. Nice turnaround move, and just comes up a little short, but that was a good looking move from the big fella. Tulsa calling out the offense. Tyler Johnson catches on the wing, goes around to Lovin's screen, gives it back out to Salmons, then over to Muncie. Muncie, back to Johnson. Back out front, going to set up a new play. 2 minutes to play here in the opening period, or the second period of the ball game. Lovins, open three, she thought about it, kicks it down to Muncie. Muncie's no good. Rebound by Cantrell. Lovins will shoot that three, and that one's just a little bit off the front of the rim, no good. And I think he probably should have shot that first one. Lovins is a pretty good shooter, and instead he passed it up. And now Morrow will come back the other way, and that's his fourth three of the game.
And he missed one?
I think the only one that didn't count was the one that the foul negated, and that went in too. So the three-point shooting of Morrow kind of keeping the Knights within striking distance of the Rebels here in the first half. Cantrell over to Lovins. Lovins gonna slow it down. 13-point Tulsa lead with a minute to go in the opening half. Muncie gets the ball back, resets the offense. Johnson working against Morrow. Quicker guard, and he had his man beat, but just lost it off his knee. An unforced turnover for the Rebels. And Point Pleasant will get the ball with 48 seconds to play here in the second period, down 13. Bush brings it up for the Knights. Bush over to Chapman, over to Morrow, and another moving screen on the Knights, and that's the third moving screen they've been called for tonight. And they're really trying to get Morrow open on those screens, and I can't blame him. That kid has lit it up tonight from deep, has half of the Point Pleasant points. Say that 3 times fast. Point Pleasant points.
I would love to know what shooting coach that kid goes to.
He's definitely been in the gym working on his shot. Cantrell and the Rebels can play for the last shot of this half if they choose. Muncie over to Salmons. Back to Muncie, playing a little two-man game here. Gets it over to Johnson. 8 seconds. Johnson's on the attack here. Gets it into Cantrell. Cantrell goes up with it. And Cantrell has 15 on the night. And the Rebels are up 15. And we'll go to the half right there with Tulsa Rebels up 39-24. And it wasn't a perfect first half, but it was about as close as you could get for the Tulsa Rebels. Autumn, what do you say if you're Coach Maynard here at halftime to make sure these guys keep up that same level of play coming back out of the break?
Really, I think these boys can rile themselves up pretty good, so I think you should let them get in there, start cheering, get themselves ready and everything. Just give them a little bit of a pep talk, tell them to keep doing what they're doing. They're doing good. Tell them whatever they need to fix, which really, they're playing good defense. They're getting the rebounds. So
the only thing I think you fix is there's been a couple of unforced turnovers where you've thrown the ball away. You clean that up a little bit, but you're right. Other than that, this has been pretty flawless first half for the Rebels. Switch gears a little bit here, Autumn. The girls, they got a game tomorrow night against Riverview. This was a game that was originally supposed to be scheduled earlier in the season, had to be moved because of COVID protocol. What are your all's thoughts about tomorrow night's game with Riverview, and what do you expect out of that ball game?
Well, really, we don't have like the best record right now, and we've been playing some big teams. Riverview really hasn't had the type of schedule we have, but they're undefeated, so we can't go in expecting to just walk out because we're playing big teams. We have to get ready for it, and we've watched film on them, we've got ready, and really, I expect it to be a good game.
Absolutely, and like you said, the girls, just like the boys have, played a really tough schedule to date, and The good thing about playing those tough schedules is when you get into sectional play and you get into playoff basketball, you're battle tested and you know what to expect from high environment basketball. It's halftime right now. Your Tulsa Rebels lead 39-24. Rob Cantrell leads the way for the Rebels with 15. We're going to step away for a little bit, let Autumn and myself go get a drink from the concession stand so we can get our throats
We would like to give a birthday shout out to Jacob Mullen. Happy birthday, Jacob.
Welcome back inside Rebel Arena. We're getting ready to get and the Rebels get the rebound and are off and running as Muncie pulls it back out. And Tyler Johnson gets to the cup and lays it in for 2 points. Tulsa now up 41-24, 7 minutes to go here in the third quarter. And if you're wondering why your screen went black there for a moment, we had a little kid bump the tripod and knock the camera off. We're good now, and that's a three by Morrow on the way. And the Rebels are up 41-27, but Morrow has hit his 5th three-pointer of the ball game to lead Point Pleasant with 15. Cantrell, nice feed into Sammons for the layup. And then a steal by Jesse Muncie, and Jesse's going to get called for the charge, no basket. And that was a real bang-bang play there. Steal and charge happened quick. So that negates 2 points for the Rebels, and Tulsa still leads it 43-27 here in the third quarter. Bush looking for the pick and roll to Chapman, gets it inside. Chapman finishes that pretty easily. Little extended defense here for Point Pleasant. Johnson breaking down the defense over to Muncie. Muncie back over to Johnson. Johnson tried to get it to Cantrell, couldn't. Muncie for a three, no good. Cantrell with the rebound though, and back out to Johnson for the three, and that's just a little short, but Johnson follows his shot, gets his own rebound, puts a floater up, that's too hard, but then gets a steal, and he's gonna give it to Sammons for the foul line jumper, and that's good. And that was just a great sequence of basketball for the Tulsa Rebels, just all hustle, getting multiple looks until one finally goes down. Bush working against Johnson, and Johnson's going to be called for the grab, but that's going to be on the floor, so Bush's basket won't count. Point Pleasant's ball under the basket. Anthony Lovins will check in for Tyler Johnson. Ball over to Chapman. Chapman going to be called on the foul. It looks like Sammons for the Rebels. No, number one, Stephen Ward going to be called for the foul. That's his third of the ball game, team's third of the half. Point Pleasant will trigger it in to Bush. Bush goes up and kisses it off the glass and good. 14-point Rebel lead with 5:34 to go here in the third quarter. Muncie over to Lovins. Lovins back to Muncie. Muncie drives, kicks to the corner, inside to Ward. Ward back out to Muncie, over to Robb, over to Sammons. Sammons goes around the Point Pleasant defense, then kicks it to Lovins, back over to Sammons, and Tulsa just playing hot potato right now. Cantrell gets a deflected pass. He's going to drive, then loses the ball, and that's going to be a run out for Morrow and the Knights. He's going to lay it in, and Tulsa will take a timeout as Point Pleasant has got a little bit of momentum on their side right now. Autumn Block, what do you think about this opening part of the second half here? after the technical difficulties with the camera getting knocked off the tripod.
Really, for Point Pleasant to be so tall and so big, I expected them to be in there a lot more trying to get the rebounds, but I haven't really saw them trying to fight for it, really. I know one time all of them were standing out behind the 3 line and just one boy was in there.
Yeah, for a team like you mentioned that has all the length that they have, they don't really rebound the ball particularly well, and that's something that Tulsa's definitely taken advantage of. It's rebounding has kind of been an Achilles heel for the Rebels over the last couple of seasons with their lack of height, but they're rebounding the ball pretty well here tonight. Muncie brings it up the floor for the Rebels. Over to Johnson. Johnson will cross the timeline. And we're going to have a ticky-tack foul called on Trey Peck from Point Pleasant. That's the Knights' first foul of the half, and it's also Peck's first foul of the game. Tulsa triggers into Muncie. Muncie back over to Johnson. Nope, has it stolen, and then we're going to have... Oh, no, we're going to have a kickball instead. And that will negate the steal by Point Pleasant, who looked like they had another layup. Muncie back to Johnson. Johnson splits the defenders, gets it over to Muncie, then over to Ward in the corner, back to Muncie. Muncie over to Johnson. Johnson to Salmons in the corner, who will fire a 3 off the front, no good. Chapman clears the board for the Knights. The Knights trying to cut this lead back down to 10. Could have cut it to 9 there, but that 3's no good by Chapman. Cantrell tried to go wrap around to Ward. Ward wasn't ready for the pass. Instead, it goes over to Muncie. Johnson going to get called for a walk, and that's probably the right call. He hesitated just a little bit and kind of shuffled his feet, and that's going to be another Tulsa turnover, already their 3rd or 4th of this quarter. 4:04 to play here in the third. Tulsa leads 45-33. Point Pleasant trying to chip away at what was a 15-point deficit. Bush, 2 attempts, point-blank range, can't get either to go, and then we're going to say that's out of bounds on Austin Salmons. Black ball. And the Knights will take it out of bounds under their own basket. Bush gets that one to fall. Now it's just a 10-point ball game, and Point Pleasant has all the momentum here in the early going of the second half. Johnson splits the defenders, gets it over to Jesse. Muncie, and he's going to get fouled as he splits the defense. As they foul on Hunter Bush, that's his first. Nobody really in foul trouble for either team other than Ward for Tulsa with 3. Muncie picked up his dribble, in trouble, but the Point Pleasant defense backs off, and he's just going to hold it until somebody comes to help him out. Johnson gets the ball. Johnson over to Muncie. Muncie into Salmons in the corner. Back out to Muncie. Back to Salmons. And again, a little bit of hot potato for the Rebels. They just eat some clock here. Looking for the perfect shot. Johnson to Ward. Ward back to Johnson. And now you can see that Point Pleasant length starting to bother the Rebels. Tulsa nearly throws it away again there. And right now they just look all kinds of out of sorts. Really working the ball around that 3-point line. Ward is going to attack, and he goes up, no good, but Salmons gets the rebound, and Salmons is going to be fouled on the putback attempt, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2 to see if Tulsa can't finally get some points out of what was really a nearly 2-minute possession.
There was all kind of gaps in that defense. I think they were too worried about keeping the ball under control and within each other that they couldn't find it.
So Salmon's first free throw is up and good. And I agree to an extent there on him that Tulsa did look a little I don't want to say nervous, but they just looked a little hesitant to really attack that Point Pleasant defense there, and was content to just pass the ball around until Salmons got the shot he wanted and gets the foul, and he'll got one more free throw coming up here after the Point Pleasant timeout. 11-point Tulsa lead, 2:39 to go here in Rebel Arena in the third quarter. If you're just now joining us here on Glen Hayes Entertainment, we thank you for watching. I'm Justin Prince. I've got Autumn Block alongside me doing the color commentary, and I also have Caleb Walker running the camera for me, Alyssa Ransbottom and Bailey Rose also helping out with some other aspects of the production, as well as Natalie Sexton. So I thank my students for taking time out of their evening to help out with this broadcast so all of you could watch Rebel basketball from the comforts of your home or wherever you may be as Salmons gets ready for this second free throw attempt, and it's up and no good. And Tulsa will just keep that 11-point lead, 46-35 with 2:33 to play here in the third quarter. Chapman, the big fella for the Knights, and we're going to get a foul call there. Might have bailed out by the referees, Chapman, as he got caught, picked up his dribble there at the foul line and had nowhere to go with it. And that'll go against Cantrell, his first foul of the ball game. Point Pleasant gets it into Murrow. He can shoot, and he finally misses one. And that would have cut this lead to 8. As it stands, Tulsa has the ball up 11. Tulsa being really methodical here as Point Pleasant extends that defense. Muncie splits the D. Back to Johnson.
They're really not looking under the basket too well.
There it is, Autumn. So you call it out, and then that pass gets rejected, and you got to go up with that as soon as you catch that inside. If you're Stephen Ward, that little bit of hesitation allowed Chapman to gather himself, and the tall, long man in the middle for Point Pleasant swats that away, making a good defensive play as Tyler Johnson thinks about the three there and decides not to take it. Muncie a little bit out of control. We'll pull it back out and set things back up as Tulsa just eats some more clock here in the third quarter. Muncie wide open three, and in and out, no good. And we're going to get a bad foul on Jesse Muncie, going for a steal there 80 feet from the basket. And those are the kind of fouls you don't want to have if you're this Tulsa team. Now you have 5 team fouls here with 1:30 still to go in the third quarter. And foul shots could really help Point Pleasant get back in this game if they can get to the bonus. 3 ball for the Knights, trying to get it to 8, and they do. That's Bush knocking that one down. 8-point Tulsa lead now. This was a 15-point game at the half. Point Pleasant slowly but surely chipping away at that lead. Cantrell back to Johnson. Johnson splits the D, goes over to Cantrell, nearly throws it away. And the extension of this defense has really given Maynard, Coach Maynard and his Tulsa Rebels team fits here in this second half. And a foul bails out the Rebels, who were looking a little discombobulated there. And Tulsa will take a timeout and talk this possession over here, as they got to try to figure out how to get the ball to the corners against this extended zone defense that Point Pleasant is throwing at them, Autumn Block. .5 seconds to go in the third. Tulsa up 46-38. This was a 39-24 ball game at the half. So Tulsa has scored 7 points, while the Knights have scored 14. So getting doubled up this quarter. in the first quarter, it's really looked like the Rebels have bogged down and not really been able to get much going offensively here, as each possession has really taken a lot of time off the clock and not amounted to many points. Muncie triggers it into Sammons. Sammons picks up his dribble and gets it to Johnson. Muncie was wide open back door but didn't get found. And now the Rebels, there he is, and that pass comes late and is batted away. But that backdoor cut is there if Tolsia can just find it sooner.
There's been boys there all night. I think Jesse just now found it, though.
Now, you called that out earlier that the holes were there. Tulsa's just got to find them. Cantrell's open in that corner right now, and Ward missed him. Wide open, would have had an easy layup. But Tulsa just having trouble seeing over the length of Point Pleasant right now, and that's going to be a steal for the Knights, who can cut this to 5 or 6, depending on what they get here before the third quarter. Nearly get an and one. That's going to be the third foul on Tyler Johnson. 3.4 seconds to go here in the third. And momentum has definitely swung all the way Point Pleasant's direction.
Definitely has.
Bush makes the first. 7-point ball game now.
I feel like Maynard has a plan of what he's trying to do right now, but the Tulsa boys don't look like they're trying to execute anything.
Yeah, the back door has been there a couple of times on that last possession. Tulsa just never saw it. 6-point ball game, and Muncie's going to fire up a buzzer beater. Ooh, that looked like from our angle that it was on line, but it's just a little bit to the left. No good. After 3 quarters, Tulsa clings to a 6-point advantage, 46-40, as we go into the fourth. Autumn, a third quarter was dominated by Point Pleasant. What does Tulsa have to do to get back to playing the way they were playing in the first half?
Well, I don't know what happened at halftime, but have they shot much?
No, there's been a lot of passing the ball around. Point Pleasant came out, extended that 2-3 zone. They're picking it up about half court now. It's giving Tulsa all kinds of trouble right now. And that backdoor cut has been there a couple of times, and Salmon's tried to get it to Muncie last time down the floor, and Point Pleasant made a nice play to bat it away against that 1-3-1. So we'll see if during the break between the periods that Todd Maynard hasn't figured out a way to attack that a little bit better and try to get it over that the long guards that Point Pleasant has.
Point Pleasant looks like they're in a really extended 1-3-1, always having pressure on the ball, and their height's definitely stopping them from seeing the open gaps.
Muncie penetrates the defense and kicks it out. Tyler Johnson trying to get a 3 off, but the big 6'7" Chapman blocks it. Morrow thought about a 3. He's had the hot hand for the Knights tonight. Gets it into Chapman. Chapman goes up and gets an and one against Austin Sammons. And they have a chance to cut this Tulsa lead that was 15 at halftime all the way down to 3.
Team number 7, his first. Chapman will shoot 1 shot.
Chapman's free throw is no good, so it'll be a 4-point ball game with 7:25 to play, and Tulsa is in desperate need of a bucket.
Austin Sammons is wide open down there. Well, not anymore.
And I don't know if the Rebels are aware of this, but bounce passes can be thrown. They're trying to throw everything over the top of that length, and then it's allowing Point Pleasant to recover. And they're going to have to throw some bounce passes and get it there quicker. Nice drive by Bush, but he misses the bunny, and Tulsa is going to try to take advantage. Johnson was running, but then he pulls it back out. Muncie comes and gets the ball from him. There's a bounce pass finally. Sam is open in the corner under the basket again. Ward will shoot a three, and that's a big bucket by Stephen Ward to push this lead back to 7, and that's his 7th point of the night. 6:27 to go here in the 4th quarter. Tulsa 49, Point Pleasant 42. Timeout Knights.
It took the Rebels a little bit there to start getting more points on the board. They were, 46? They were at 46 there for a long time.
Yeah, several minutes without a bucket for Tulsa. In fact, I think the last point actually might have been from the foul line, so I don't know exactly how long it was before a field goal, but Stephen Ward breaks the drought, hits the three, and puts the Rebels up 7 as the Knights take a timeout.
Now the boys know that spot's open. I think they should look there more often, and sometimes a bounce pass would get it in there.
Yeah, it's just that, trying to throw it over top of the length, it causes that ball to have to be thrown so high and have so much arc on it. It allows it to be a slower pass and gives the Point Pleasant defense time to recover. And you've seen them do that a couple of times when it looks like you had a guy wide open and then you throw that big lollipop pass, and they were able to come over and bat it away or steal it a couple of times. And Tulsa's going to have to just put some more oomph on the basketball and get it in there against that zone.
Yeah, with them trying to get the ball over them, it has to be a big rainbow pass, and that gives the defense enough time to get where they're going or get where the ball was wide open at one point or even steal it.
Yeah. The corners are the weak spot against this Point Pleasant zone. Bush, step back, nice move, but doesn't get it to fall. Muncie on the rebound, and he's on the run. He's going to take it all the way himself. A lot of contact, no call. Rob Cantrell's putback is good, and one for the Rebels. Chance to put this thing back at double figures and give Tulsa some breathing room.
His third team, number 5, Cantrell, will shoot one shot.
Cantrell looking for his 18th point of the ball game, leading all scorers for the Rebels. Shots up and good for Cantrell, 10-point ball game. So this little 6-0 run for Tulsa after Point Pleasant cut it to 4 has been absolutely huge for Coach Maynard's bunch. Foul there as Trey Peck drives for the Knights, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2. That's the second foul on Cantrell, 8th foul on the Rebels, so that'll be 1-1 for the Knights from here on out. Can't make a comeback if you don't hit those foul shots in a situation like this. Autumn Block could come down to the foul line for the Knights tonight. Point Pleasant, second shot is good, 9-point game.
I think he heard you there, Prince, as that one went straight in.
Stephen Ward takes a spill as he's backpedaling down the court, but he's back up and open in the corner. Good closeout from the Knights. Back to the other corner to Salmons, over to Johnson. Johnson doesn't have room for his shot. Back to him from Muncie. Muncie will now take it out at the top, tries to split the defense, and he's going to pick up a foul on Morrow.
That was Trey Peck that he got the foul right there, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, Trey Peck. That's 3 on Peck, 6 on the Knights. 5:28 to play in the ball game. Tulsa up 9, 52-43. Cantrell back over to Muncie. Muncie up top to Johnson.
Austin Salmons wide. Ooh, well, I can understand why they're not throwing it down there with that big 6'7" boy in the middle, his arms, and that had to be a rainbow pass to give them time to get it through there.
And that right there was good defense from Peck. Forces Muncie out of bounds. Turnover on the Rebels. 5:16 to play now here in the ball game. 9-point lead. Point Pleasant trying to chip away. They got it down to as close as 4 before the Rebels went on a 6-0 run. And Chapman throws it away, and then Ward almost throws it away for the Rebels, but Johnson corrals it, gives it over to Salmons. Good pump fake by Salmons, gets the 6-7 Chapman in the air and out of position and draws the foul. And Salmons will go to the line to shoot 2. And you know, that's just not a smart foul if you're Chapman. You're 6'7", you got at least 7 inches on Salmons plus your length of your arms. There's no reason to be jumping at any of those pump fakes. Just stay straight up, and Salmons wouldn't be able to get it over top of you.
That's true.
Salmons makes the first. 10-point lead again for the Rebels. Salmons makes both, and the Rebels are up 11, 54-43. Bush over to Peck. Peck back out front to Chapman. Chapman thinks about driving, decides not to, gives it back to Bush. Bush will take a drive and then pushes it back out.
If he would look down, they got a big mismatch. Well, they switched back.
Morrow on the attack, and that's going to be a really ticky-tack foul on Jesse Muncie. Not much contact there at all, and that will be bonus free throws for probably the best shooter on the floor. I'm assuming he can shoot free throws. He shot the 3-ball lights out tonight.
Well, you assume correct.
Morrow has 16 for the Knights. Looking for his 17th, trying to get this back into single-digit ball game. And he misses that one, but Chapman gets a big rebound back out to Morrow. Morrow step back 3, almost gets it to go. Out of bounds, Tolsia basketball. And the Point Pleasant bench was ready to erupt if that step back 3 had went in for Morrow. And Tolsia now up 10, can run the clock out. There's a pass. Nice hard baseball pass by Jesse Muncie to Salmons in the corner. And Salmons knocks it down. Rebels up 12 now. We've been calling for that the whole second half, and they finally executed it. Bush for 3. Money comes around the Chapman screen and nails it. Back to 9. Time, however, is not on Point Pleasant's side. Back to that corner. Salmons couldn't handle that pass. Johnson, that corner's there again, but Muncie didn't cut. Johnson gets it back after dribbling it off a foot. Salmons is trapped in that corner. Somebody's got to go to him to get help, and Maynard will call a timeout for the Rebels. And again, you know, you had the back door there, but Jesse Muncie stayed at the three-point line, didn't cut and didn't take it. And, you know, that's an aspect of his game that I think he has to work on in the offseason going into his senior year. He's a really great player all around in a lot of different ways, but the one area I think that he can improve is moving without the basketball.
It's not often that he doesn't have it, so I don't think he's ever tried to work on it too much.
That's a good point. He doesn't. There's not a lot of times down the floor where he doesn't at least touch the basketball, so he doesn't have a lot of opportunity to move without the basketball, but nonetheless, when he does have the chance, he can get some easy buckets, I believe, if he just moves a little better without the basketball instead of camping at the three-point line. We got 3:18 left to play in the ball game. Tolsia up 9, 56-47. Trying to bounce back after a tough loss at Man last night. The Rebels currently have a 4-2 record. Johnson over to Cantrell, back to Johnson. And Tulsa will just work it around until they get a good shot. Nice pass from Muncie, but Sammons couldn't catch it clean. And Tulsa will have to reset. Johnson wide open, three. No good, too strong, out of bounds. Point Pleasant basketball. And I think Sammons was ready to shoot that a little bit too soon before he quite caught it, and that caused him to bobble it. And they had to kick that one back out, but they did still get an open shot. Johnson just couldn't knock it down. Still a 9-point Tulsa lead. Point Pleasant nearly throws it away, but they get it inside of Chapman, and he's going to get fouled and go to the line, and I think that's a good foul by Austin Sammons. It's either going to be a wide open, easy lay-in for the 6'7" Chapman, or you can put the big boy on the line and see if he can shoot free throws.
His second, P10, at the line, shooting 2 shots.
And again, good foul. Even if he makes his second one, still a good foul because the layup would have been worth 2, and the foul's only going to be worth 1 at the most. Don't give me that look, Autumn. It's simple math.
I think the people can do that there.
8-point Tulsa lead. Muncie tried to thread the needle there. That ball is going to be off of a Knight, out of bounds. Tulsa will retain possession. 2:29 to play. 56-48. A bucket here may put the Knights in foul mode. Nice pass into Sammons, back over to Stephen Ward. And Stephen Ward is going to be fouled as he goes up. And he'll go to the line to shoot 2 to try to get this back to a double-digit lead for Tulsa.
I think everyone in the gym heard that slap.
Yeah, his arm's going to be red in the morning.
He's holding it now.
You hear Coach Maynard jokingly telling Stephen Ward, I think it's broke.
Going to the line for the Rebels, Stephen Ward.
And if anybody knows Coach Maynard, they know that's his personality. He's never serious, even in some of the most serious situations. Always has a joke to kind of calm the nerves of his kids. And it looks like Ward is actually going to go out, and Lovins is going to come in and take the free throws for the injured Ward.
I saw a glimpse of his hand. It's really red already.
So maybe the smack on the arm was a little bit more than a smack. Looks like they're looking at the hand and not the arm, so maybe dislocated a finger. And Lovins, who in a free throw competition the other day hit 20 in a row to beat me and then misses that free throw. I'm going to let him know about that tomorrow at school. Misses them both.
I think it's the nerves of the game getting to him now.
Well, it's also hard to come off the bench cold, not be in the flow of the game, and to get to put to the line to shoot pressure free throws, and now it's a 6-point ball game. Tulsa needs a bucket bad. Trying to put this one away against the Black Knights. Rob Cantrell, nice finish inside for Cantrell. That's his 20th bucket of the ball game. And why not go to Cantrell? He's kind of been your money man all night long. Really answered the call for Tulsa here tonight. Putting the Rebels back up 8:50 with 1:37 left. 3 for Point Pleasant on the way. And the big fella knocks it down. 5-point ball game, 58-53 with 1:31 to go. And Point Pleasant will take what I think might be their final timeout.
You know, like you said earlier, this game coming down to foul shots, if they would have made all the times they've been on the line, they might even be in the lead right now.
30-second timeout.
That's correct. Both teams have left a lot of points at the line, really. And in a close game like this, like you just said, those could be the difference between a win and a loss. The Rebels 91 seconds away from closing this thing out and leaving Rebel Arena with a win over a larger class opponent, Point Pleasant, playing in Class 3A in West Virginia. Tulsa Rebels Class Single A. The Rebels have already knocked off Class 4A Spring Valley earlier in the year. However, Tulsa does have losses to Tug Valley and Man in their section. So, trying to get some momentum here and get on a little bit of a win streak are the Tulsa Rebels.
Really, I think we're in one of the best sections of the Single A West Virginia right now.
I don't even think it's a question, Autumn Block. I think it is the best section in Single A basketball. You got 3 legitimate top 10 teams, and it's a shame that one of them is going to be at the house come March. Well, come March, it is March. The COVID season's got me messed up. Come May. Still by Point Pleasant, got a chance to get this inside of 5. 1:10 to go. Tulsa 58, Point Pleasant 53. We're in for a good one, folks. Chapman thought about his second 3, decides not to. Peck on the drive, kick out to Morrow. Morrow couldn't get the 3 off cleanly, so he gets it back out front. Peck now gets it over to Bush. He takes a deep 3 and just barely misses it off the front of the iron. And now Point Pleasant has to foul. Muncie splits the defense and burns a few more seconds before Bush is able to foul him, and he'll go to the line for the 1 plus the bonus. Actually, it'll be a 2-shot bonus. That's the 10th foul. It'll be a 2-shot bonus. No, that was team 9th. I was right the first time. 1 and 1/5. Scoreboard was wrong. Muncie makes the first to give Tulsa a 6-point advantage with 40 seconds to go. Muncie true on the second, 7-point Tulsa advantage. Point Pleasant drives. Bush, tough drive to the basket, nearly gets the and one. Impressive take really there for Bush, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2 to try to get this back to a 5-point ball game. But time is running out for the Knights. Bush is set, first is good. Second in and out, no good. Lovins with a big rebound. Muncie up the floor, and he's going to be fouled right there by number 20, Luke Derenberger. That's his second foul. Muncie will go to the line to shoot 2 more free throws, trying to ice a victory here for Tulsa. Muncie makes the first. 7-point Rebel lead.
He's really coming in clutch right now for the Tulsa Rebels.
8-point Tulsa lead, and like you said, Autumn, free throws were going to be big, and Muncie's hit 4 clutch ones here to give the Rebels back out to an 8-point advantage. Chapman thought about the 3, decided not to take it, probably should have. Time is running out. 17 seconds left. Tough 3 by Bush. Oh my goodness. Can't believe he got that one to go, and that cuts it back to 5. A little bit of March Madness right here in Glen Hayes.
Only 9 seconds left to go in the game.
Tyler Johnson will now go to the line. 9.4 seconds to go. Big free throws coming. And Johnson delivers on the first. 63-57, Tulsa lead, 2-possession ball game. And Johnson makes them both. And that makes it realistically a 3-point ball game unless you foul a 3-point shooter and he makes it and gives them a 4-point play, which would just be absolutely the worst thing to happen for Tulsa right now. So little bit of room to breathe for Coach Maynard with 9.4 seconds to go, but you know, as we've seen just this last trip down, Point Pleasant's capable of hitting some tough shots.
Yeah. It wasn't a barely make either. That was straight in.
That one was nothing but net. You could hear the twine tickle from up here, and cut the lead to 5, but Tyler Johnson hits 2 clutch free throws to push it back to 7.
You know, this entire game has been stream music. Really, they've been
It really has.
everywhere.
There's been some good shots tonight. I mean, Tulsa came out on fire early in that first half, and then Point Pleasant's hit some nice ones here. Morrow kid, man, he can flat out shoot. And
Yeah.
Bush has been tough as well. And then, of course, the big 6'7" Chapman is a load down low. So if Tulsa can come out of here with a win, this is a nice win and a nice bounce back after that game last night. I know I've said that 30 times. And Bush hits another one, but the clock is going to expire, and Tulsa is going to get out of here with a 64-60 win. But man, Hunter Bush did everything he could there at the end to get the Knights back into this one, and they're going to come up a little short here in Rebel Arena. So we thank you guys for joining us here on the broadcast. One more time, I'm Justin Prince, along with some of my students, Autumn Block, Natalie Sexton, Bailey Rose, Alyssa Ransbottom, and Caleb Walker. Join us for the post-game press conference with Todd Maynard, and I think we're going to pull in Rob Cantrell, who had a big night tonight, and talk to those guys in the press conference. See us here tomorrow night as well for the girls' game as the girls take on Riverview. Good night from Glenn Hayes.